Hey guys, welcome back to Waters Family Homestead. All right, that's the first bloom there. It's starting to fall away, but there's two more blooms, and there's a whole lot of those little buds that are getting ready to open up. So there's going to be a lot of blooms on this rose bush this year. I don't know if it's going to be as big as it was last year, but there's still a lot of blooms on there. So I think it's going to be a good year for it. I just finished watering the garden, and yes, I'm watering pretty much every day. Now, yesterday I got home late because of Good Friday service and all of that, so I did not water. But God watered it for me. We got just a little bit of rain. I got about 2/10 of an inch, not quite a quarter of an inch of rain. It sounded like it was raining hard. I didn't go outside. I was looking at the cameras. I'm like, there's a lot of water coming off the roof of the house, but it was just enough to say it was raining good, but it lasted about 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. The carrots were standing up nice and tall, but when I water them, the pressure of the water kind of beats them down, but they'll stand back up tonight and tomorrow, and I'll water them again. So apparently you're waiting on the base of that green to get big, inch and a quarter, inch and a half, whatever. And that's telling you the size of the carrot up under it. So got a long ways to go before those carrots are ready to be picked. The tomatoes, still tiny. I don't know, maybe we stunning them with the cold. I just don't know. The squash is coming along nicely. The onions, like I said in the last video, according to Travis at Lazy Dog Farm, once they lay over, they're pretty much done making new leaves. However many leaves they have is how many layers that onion's supposed to have. So I got a good amount of leaves on most of them, if not all of them, but they're starting to lay over, which means all their energy, instead of going into the leaves to grow leaves, is now going into the bulb to grow the bulb. And he says you want to keep that soil moist so it's got, so it's soft enough for it to expand and grow. So that's what I'm focusing on. I'm making sure I water those onions really well. And while I'm doing it, might as well water everything else. All it's going to do is help it as dry as it's been. But look at the size of that zucchini plant. I was talking about how it was 3 foot wide before. We're 4 inches away from the edge of the box over here, and I'm hanging over more than a foot on this side. So I had a question that I was going to ask you guys. Should I take and prune some of those larger leaves back to keep that plant closer, tight knit? Because it's basically covering up 2 other plants right here. And it's going to cover up this third one over here. So should I prune that big one back and that big one back to give the smaller plants a chance to grow? Now, last year I didn't have that problem. They all grew big and fast, and that's what I'm thinking, is just leave it alone. I don't know if it'll invite pests or if it'll cause a problem with the plant by pruning some of the bigger leaves back. So until I hear from somebody tell me it's a good thing to do, I'm just going to leave them alone. The early peas are doing really well. They're starting to latch on to the tomato cages in a lot of places, which means now that and this one over here is really grabbed a hold in several places. But now that it's latched on, it should start coming up that tomato cage instead of spreading out like it's been doing. So I'm hoping anyway. The black-eyed peas and green beans are not doing as well as I thought they would do. I thought they would grow a lot faster. Now, this bed is all store-bought natural compost and that black cow compost. And it's not organic, but it's what I could do. So that's what this bed is. It's completely that stuff. And they took off well, they germinated well, but they're just not getting any size to them. So I don't know if they're working on their root system or what, but I'm hoping they take off pretty soon. So the squash, again, over here in this little half a bed is doing really well. Potatoes are, the tops are just doing fantastic. I've got a few that are smaller and then quite a few that are much, much bigger. But I think it's going to be a good year for me for potatoes, at least from what little bit I know, that's what it looks like. So, anywho, all right, one more thing I was working on today, and I'm not nowhere near finished, but I'm going to show y'all. Hang on a second. All right, I got to get my little cutters out and cut these weeds down. But my propane guy told me, says, look, you need to paint your tank. It's getting way too much rust on it. So I got my daughter, she came over today, and I cooked lunch for her and the girls and my grandson and my middle daughter. And I started with my palm sander. She picked me up some 80 grit, and I hit the lid, and then I started hitting this side. And you can see the difference in this side and that side, and the end of this tank versus what it looks like at the bottom half that I haven't gotten yet. So it's knocking a lot of that surface rust off and getting down to the base primer paint. But I'm planning on sanding the whole thing down. He told me he didn't care what color I painted it, as long as I painted it. They use silver. I said, but the tank used to be white. So I don't know if I'm going to go with white or silver, but it had a black top, of course. But I'm going to keep sanding on this thing until I get it down to where I think it's ready for a coat of paint. And then I'm going to get a couple cans of spray paint and paint it whatever color I decide. Probably going to be white, but it could be silver. I like white. I can use it for other things, where the silver really isn't going to do me any good on nothing else. But you see the difference in the tank from where I've sanded to where I haven't. So, and I'll sand some more over here, but I'm using 80 grit sandpaper and a palm sander and just taking my time trying to knock that stuff off and get it good and smooth so I can just spray paint it and all that, because apparently they won't fill it as full as they used to because of all the rust on it. And an 80% of this, I think, is a 120 gallon tank. 80% full lasts me for almost 2 years. So that's what I was working on earlier this afternoon, and I'm hoping to get that finished this weekend. If not, I've got time this week coming up. I've already filled the feeders. Y'all, the hardware cloth I put on the feeders to keep them from raking it out is doing great. There's very little waste on the ground in the chicken pens. They are, they don't like it, and I wouldn't expect them to. But it's because I'm making them not waste food. They're not starving. But I go in there and pull the top off and fill the feeders up. And they're still using about a third of a feeder a day, maybe a quarter. But it's saving me a lot of feed so far. And I'm going to keep using that wire until these chickens are processed or until that problem goes completely away. So I may just leave it like that. But I do know they mess with it and try to take it off. And I'm probably going to screw the bottom down to where it won't come up and won't move. Because they do pick at it and knock it around a little bit, but they're not able to rake that food out. And that's what the goal was. So the barnyard mix hen over here in the first pen by herself, she's doing really well. She's in there at the feeder actually, and she's walking on both legs. She does limp a little bit, but she's using both legs and walking around. So, a few more days or a week or whatever of her by herself should let whatever her problem was with her feet or legs get better, and maybe we can mix her back in with the flock or add a few to her, 1 or 2 at the time. But she's doing really well. She's eating and drinking, and one chicken on that 10-pound feeder, she's barely touching it. But I did buy a little bit more feed the other day, a couple more bags, and put in 1 can, and I bought another bag of scratch feed as their treat. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I also walked down my fence line. Y'all know where I've attached these landscape timbers to the bottom of the fence to keep dogs or predators from going under the fence into the pen. And I went and walked around and pushed it out with my foot so that the grass that was up against it is now on the inside edge. And you see they're pecking at that grass and eating every bit of it. So I'll do that, and then when I cut grass, I'll push it back in up against the post, and there won't be any weed eating left to do. The chickens will do all that for me. So makes it a little bit easier on the old man. But, all right, I'm gonna get off here. I appreciate you guys watching. I've looked at the blueberry bush over there. It's got a lot of blooms all over it. It's gonna be a good blueberry year for that bush over there. This one doesn't have much on it, but that's normal. It's not near as big a bush. And the peach tree's got little tiny peaches all over it from where it was covered with blooms. And that one over on the other side of the chicken run is the same way. Now if you look, let me zoom in. Look at that apple tree. It's got white blooms all over it this year. It's never had that many blooms. So maybe this cold we've had and the snow that the south got that we don't normally get, and this bush, this tree over here is starting to get leaves out on it as well. So maybe that's going to mean that I might actually get a few apples this year. And if I do, the tree will get to live. If I don't, those trees are coming down because they're just wasting nutrients. So the scuppering vine's doing really well. The nectarine bush back there, tree is looking really good. So I'm hoping what's left of my fruit orchard is going to do well this year. The fig tree looks good. So I'm pleased with it. Oh, I am an impatient gardener. I was just thinking I probably need to grow my variety of what I grow in the garden. A lot of people grow cabbage when it's cooler, like this time of year and in the fall. And I eat cabbage, but I don't eat enough of it to grow a bunch of it. So that's why I don't plant it. There's quite a few things that I can plant. Collards and turnips, they grow well in the south here. Mustards, that kind of stuff, but I just don't eat enough of it to justify planting a lot of it. So I'm trying to plant what I eat and what I know I can put up and store for later when I need it. That's kind of what the prepping thing is all about. So thank y'all for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the zucchini bushes or plants that have gotten so doggone big. Should I prune some of them back a little bit or not? They've got little baby places on there where there's fixing to be blooms. Within the next week or two, I should have blooms on some of my zucchini plants, and that's going to make the honeybees happy, but it's going to make me happy too, meaning in 2 to 4 weeks, I should have zucchini and squash that I can start picking. So anyway, I appreciate y'all. Remember what I always tell you. Jesus Christ loves you, and so do I. I hope you've had a great, happy Easter, a great Easter weekend, and got time to spend, made time to spend time with your family and worship Jesus Christ as we all should. So I love y'all. I thank y'all. Y'all have a great one.